11 p.m. in the night. These are the number of hours and then the days of the week. Now, let's say I want to further format it. So let's select all and then format this data. And let's just, maybe I can use conditional formatting for doing this. So as you see it here, a dark green is a maximum value and a light or a white is rather a minimum value. So as you can see it here, the dark zones, the dark greens are the ones when the maximum taxi trips are happening. So if, let's say, for an example, I am running a taxi company, I may not want to run my taxi during these times because there is very less number of rides, but rather I would want to get my taxis to definitely ply at these times and at these. You will be able to get your insights right then and there. And then there is an interesting part that you could actually schedule a refresh of this data. So you can say that, hey, my data should, refresh every 1 hour or every 2 hour or 3 hour or maybe every 2 days or every 3 days or maybe every 1 week or 2 week or 3 week, whatever it is, right? So you can schedule the refresh in such a way that you don't have to create the same analysis again and again. Automatically, it will refresh the report with the latest data, and you will never have to recreate your reports. So a lot of times you have cases wherein every Monday morning, some teams have to create a report and give it to their leadership team. All of that goes away by just using the schedule refresh, which is an interesting way of interacting with data. Now, these days there is no demo complete without talking about how you could leverage AI inside the sheet. So let's see how we could use AI out of this data. So again, let me just ask a normal question and say, help me get some interesting insights from this data and show me some charts as well to visualize this data. Yeah, that's the same thing that we had asked in the previous demo, and that's what I'm asking. I'm not giving it any information. All I'm saying is give me insights, right? I don't know what to get out of this data, and what I'm hoping for is that it is able to quickly create some charts, and it's able to give me some interesting insights from the data that Friday has the highest total trip counts, Sunday has the lowest, peak hours for the trips, hourly trip counts by day of the week, so on and so forth, right? And it's giving me some interesting charts, right? As you see it here, it's given me a very interesting chart of hourly trip counts by day of the week, and you see a downward trend here and then an upward trend here, and then the peak happens here and then there's a downward trend here, and that's almost same for every day, right? If you see Sunday to Saturday, it's almost the same, right? And so you know that these are the off peak times and then these are the peak times, and you might want to scale up and scale down accordingly. So that's an interesting way of using AI to get your work done, right? Uh, so yeah, that's how I use AI to get my work done, and to get more insights out of this data. I would definitely encourage all of you to go ahead, start leveraging these AI capabilities which I've showcased, start leveraging some of these big data capabilities that I've showcased, and I'm sure you will be able to make a lot of sense out of the information that you're seeing today. There's an interesting thing about Google Sheets. Another thing is machine learning for Sheets, right? Now, this machine learning for Sheets is an interesting aspect where you could add uh, machine learning analysis as a extension on top of your Google Sheets, and that's something that is an interesting way of leveraging uh, ML for your data. Now, while I will not be doing a demo for this today, but if you're interested in this, just go to Google and just type simple ML for Sheets, and you will be able to get a plugin for that, and then use that plugin. And let me showcase simple ML for Sheets to you. Uh, so when you type on Google Simple ML for Sheets, this is where you get as part of the Google Workspace Marketplace.
No.
And inside the marketplace, you've got the option to install it. I've already got it installed. And it also tells you how you could utilize this in a few images that we've got here. So you will be able to leverage this. And there is also a tutorial, a YouTube tutorial. So feel free to leverage this in your free time. This is able to help you do some cool stuff, like you can predict missing values or using this, or there are other interesting insights that you can build out of this. You can also spot abnormal values. You can also understand which model to use and which model to not use when you're trying to do machine learning based analysis. So that's something that maybe you can take as your homework. Go to the Google Workspace Marketplace and just download this from there, and let us know how that works. So that's an interesting way of leveraging machine learning insights or algorithms, ML based algorithms, for getting insights out of your data, right? Now, jumping guns to something which is more interesting than what I've been talking about so far, and that is, a lot of times our users talk about uh, how do I get. So our users talk about further automation. That let's say I am part of the marketing team and we are running a marketing campaign. Now we want to understand the engagement of that marketing campaign, but then there are so many campaigns which are running. How do we aggregate all of them, and how do we understand the user engagement? Because there can be thousands, or there can be millions of comments or views, and how do we figure out what's working, what's not working? So we thought, why don't we go to AI and create an automation for this? So what I do is I go to my friend Gemini here, and I say, can you help create an app script to extract comments and replies from YouTube videos? Now, my marketing team creates a lot of YouTube videos, and I want to understand whether they are working, not working, which one is working better or not, right? So I can simply ask it. What it's saying is, hey, you could, this is the way how you can create this. Now, an interesting way of me doing it straight away within this browser itself, and I'll just clear my history to showcase that to you. Now, what Google Sheets and Gemini allows you to do is it allows you to create these automations and bring it inside your sheet. Now, in my case, if you see this here, my coding partner is a automation, or we call it gems. So my coding partner is a automation that I've built every time I want to take help to create an app script, right? Now, app script is nothing but a JavaScript based low code platform which gets the Google Sheet to connect to a different ecosystem. In this case, it is YouTube. So let's say I ask the same question here to my coding partner, that I want to extract comments and replies from a YouTube video. Help me create an app script for that. So basically, I am not a coding expert, but I can go to my coding partner and I can ask help from my digital assistant. So this is where my coding partner gives me the steps of development of this automation. So it says this is what you need to do. There are certain assumptions, and it's giving me a step-by-step that this is where you need to go open your Google Sheet, go to extensions, app script, and write the app script code. So it's given me this code. What I can do is I can just simply copy this from here, go to my extensions, go to app script, and this is the user interface of app script. And what I could do is I could just paste my formula here, and I could just deploy that here. So I can just copy my JavaScript, paste it here, and then just deploy it and refresh my sheet. And let me just refresh the sheet once. So let me just refresh the sheet, and once the sheet is refreshed, what I see here is a new menu item called YouTube Tools. And what the YouTube Tools allows me to do is it allows me to fetch the comments and replies which are there as part of my YouTube video. So it's connected to my YouTube video. And now all that I need to do is I need to just give it the YouTube video code. So let's say this is a YouTube video code. And what I need to do is just go here and click on fetch comments and replies. And what it does is it's running the script at the back end, and it says success. All comments and replies have been fetched. Okay. So as you see this here, there's a new sheet here, and it automatically is bringing me the comments from our customers. And, one of the things is once I've got some comments, I want to also understand the sentiment that I've got for this video. So what Google AI allows me to do is, as soon as I click here, now this sheet understands that there is some data inside the sheet. So it allows me to create an AI column. So I click here, it automatically gives me these options that I can analyze the sentiment, or I can summarize, or I can categorize. So let's say in this case, I want to quickly analyze the sentiment. So automatically, what's happening is it has tried to understand this data and automatically tell me that, hey, I'm seeing a positive or a neutral or a negative message on this particular video. Similarly, I could do that for all my videos together, right? And understand what are the likes, what are the reply counts, what is the overall engagement. And along with that, what I could also do is I can also look at my competitors' videos, that what are they doing on YouTube, and what's working for them, what's not working for them, so that we could be better when we are planning our content. So that's an interesting way how you can leverage AI to not just interact with data, but understand it well, connect it to external platforms so that you're able to get better analysis of data, and you're able to make the right business decisions for your organization. So that's an interesting way how you can leverage a combination of automation and AI inside Google Sheets. But this is not it. There are more interesting things that we have in store today. And for sharing all of that, I'm now going to invite my partner in crime, Simran, who's going to talk about some of the cool stuff that she does when she leverages Google Sheets. So hang on.
Hello, everyone. Awesome. Thank you so much, Prateek. That was a fantastic look at how we can leverage the power of Gemini and AI right inside of Sheets. It's incredible to see how users can analyze data, get insights just by asking questions in natural language. Team, now to really take advantage of all that power, you also need to be quick and confident with the tool itself. So think of it this way. Prateek showed you the brilliant AI analyst, and now I'm going to show you how to be an expert driver, right? Navigating Sheets with speed. So my section is all about making your daily work faster and easier. We'll cover some of the keyboard shortcuts that will save you tons of your clicks, the best way to collaborate seamlessly with your team, and then we'll deep dive into some of the essential formulas and functions and the magic of macros towards the end. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into the core functionalities of Sheets, right? So what truly makes Sheets special is basically the ability to work together in real time. Which is all about moving your work out of your email attachments into a single live workspace file. It all begins with the share button at the top right corner. This is your control panel. This is where you can decide if someone has to be a viewer to your file, a commenter where they can look and leave notes, or an editor, who can make changes. So you have complete control on your file. You can also choose to add an expiration date, which basically means that it will automatically expire after the due date in time. You can also set advanced level of controls by clicking on that gear icon, which is basically, you either allowing editors to change permissions and share further, all of those things. If people could download, copy, or print, so you may choose to have those advanced level of controls while you are sharing your files. But the real magic happens with comments, right? So instead of you sending an email, you can right click on any specific cell. And if you scroll down, there is something called as comments. Now, you can literally add a person here and assign him a task, right? So let's say if I need to add Adi to this cell, and I want him to look at this specific cell or at this specific number, I can literally tag him and assign him a task, right? Now, once he sees it, he can reply, he can mark it as done. So he will get an email notification as soon as I assign him a task, right? So if I click on this checkbox and assign, he will receive that email notification. And once he looks at it, he can mark it as done. And it's a complete game changer for the team you're working with, right? Or the projects that you're working in with the team. Now, the biggest, fear people have with collaboration is, what if someone accidentally deletes something or messes up your work? Google Sheets has the perfect answer for that as well. So if you click on this file section here, there is something called as version history. So if you go ahead and click on see version history, it basically lets you see every single change made by any person, and then you also have the capability to restore previous versions with just single click, right? So if you click on these three little dots, you have this option of restoring the previous versions. So if I click on the current version, these are basically the changes being made by Simran Arora yesterday at on September 2. Right, so it's an ultimately safety net that gives you complete peace of mind when working as a team on a sheet. While version history gives you history at a file level, you can also track history at a cell level in Google Sheets as well, right? So if you click on any specific cell, there is an option of show edit history. It will basically, give you controls on who edited what specific cell as well, right? So you can also track history at a cell level. By the way, you can go ahead and add conditional notifications in Google Sheets, right? Which basically means, let's say if you only need emails or notifications for anything above, let's say, 6,000. You can create a rule to add those conditional notifications in Google Sheets. While we are discussing on the menus in Google Sheets, and I was in this file section, we have already spoken about version history. You also have something called as approvals, right? Now, if you need a formal, let's say, sign off on a sheet, that's where the approvals comes into picture, right? Let's say you have a budget file, or let's say a new contract or a project plan. This is your tool, right? You just need to make a request. It lets you send your file through a formal review process where your managers can literally approve or reject or leave comments right in the document. So let's say if I need approval from Pratik Bajaj, I just add him as an approval. I can also add a due date and time when I want this file to be approved, and I can send this request, right? So this is basically a game changer for formal approvals workflows within an organization. Next to the approvals, there is also something called as labels. Now, this is a powerful, thing for your Google Workspace admins. They can create rules to automatically apply labels like confidential or internal use only to some of the sensitive files, right? So it is an automated way to help your entire organization keep data secure. Of course, if you scroll a bit down, I'm just covering some of the key things that I think you should know about it, right? So never forget about this make available offline, right? Which particularly means that we say that Google Workspace is 100% web-based solutions, but we do acknowledge that work doesn't happen online every time. That's where the offline mode comes into picture. Just click this to ensure you can keep working on your sheet even without an internet connection, right? So you can make your files available in an offline mode, and when you don't have an internet connection, you can go ahead and work, open, access, work on your files in an offline mode, right? So these are a couple of things that I wanted to cover under this file section. Then you also have edit, which is all about cutting, copying, pasting. If you kind of need to freeze your rows or columns, that's where you go to the view section here, right? Now, according to me, I think insert and data, these are the two most used section when it comes to power users of sheets, right? So under this insert menu, you have something called as pre-built templates, right? This feature allows you to add a table with predefined headers and layouts for common use cases, right? Which basically saves you from manual formatting. So you have templates for various use cases, right? So if you scroll down, you have templates for event planning, customer relations, right? So I'm under event planning, and there are like more than 4 or 5 templates under event planning, right? You have templates for customer relations, project management, travel planner, product roadmap, inventory management, right? So which basically means that if you have these use cases in place, you can use any of these templates, and you don't need to kind of do those manual formatting things, right? I'll click on this cross button here and come back to the insert menu that we were on. There is also something called as timeline view, right? Now, this timeline basically is visualization of your plans, right? This helps you transforms your data like a list of tasks with, let's say, start date and end date into a beautiful interactive Gantt chart. It's perfect for tracking project milestones directly within your sheet, right? And then you have charts, pivot tables, image, drawing, list of functions that we'll just speak in a moment, right? Now, coming on to the format section, all about number alignment, formatting, wrapping, rotation, all of those things could be done under this format section. Conditional formatting is something that, again, comes under the format section. You can also, like I said, you can also add conditional notifications, which will fall under, the tools section here, right? Coming on to the data section, now under the data section, you have something called as protect sheets and ranges. This is essential for any collaborative sheet, right? So you can lock down the entire sheet. Let's say I go ahead and add a sheet here. I say protect sheet, and I say, okay, this is the master, sheet that I kind of need to protect. I can go ahead and set the permissions here. And I can say that, okay, apart from, let's say, just me, who is the owner of this file, I don't want anyone else to edit this specific sheet. While they can edit the other subsheets that I have in this specific spreadsheet, they cannot edit this part of the sheet, right? So that's what the protect sheets and ranges do, where you can lock down your entire sheet, or let's say just specific range of cells, so that nobody can edit them even by accident, right? So that's what protect sheets and ranges do. If I go ahead and go back to the data section here, just after protect sheets and ranges, there is something called as named ranges. Again, think of this like giving a nickname to a range of cells. So instead of a formula that looks like, let's say, sum equals to sum f2 to, let's say, f99, you could just have that, say, just define a name to that range and just give that range while you are just give that name while you are using that formula, right? So it makes your formulas much more understandable. And finally, we have something called as functions, like named functions. So if you have a long complex formula that you use all the time, you can save it as custom function. You just need to give a simple name to that custom function you're building, and then reuse that complete logic anywhere without ever having to type it out again. So it's like creating your own unique tools for Google Sheets, right? And then we have different other things which we'll discuss in a moment. We have already spoken about AppScript, and other extensions that we have here. I actually wanted to, take you through keyboard shortcuts, which is one of the key things that I actually wanted to speak about today. It's a game changer for anyone who has a background using Microsoft Excel. So if you look at this feature here which says enable compatible spreadsheet shortcuts, just make sure you toggle this button on, right? Now, again, like I said, this is a game changer for anyone who has a background using MS Excel. And I'm sure many of you have years, maybe even decades of Excel, muscle memory built up. And it can be, I understand, it can be frustrating, when a shortcut you have used 1,000 times, like let's say F4 to lock a cell reference, doesn't work the way you expect. We have thought about it. There's a wonderful setting, like I said, it's called the enable compatible spreadsheet shortcuts on. Make sure you enable this button. It will basically, help Google Sheet to understand the language that you've already used in the past, right? So many of the most common shortcuts you already know and love will start working immediately, definitely making you feel at home. So that's what I actually wanted to, highlight in this session today. Right, so we have seen a couple of things, and then you also have Ask Gemini, which is basically what Prateek have already covered in his session. So let's move on to the demo part now, right? We have already spoken about all the menu icons that we have within Sheets. Let's switch gears and let's talk about some of the common formulas we all use on a daily basis, right? So let's say this is a sample data for today, which I would be leveraging for the session. And this spreadsheet records sales transaction. The purpose of is to basically track and manage sales data, right? So we have some columns called order date, sales representatives, items, units, what are the total sales with the regions, with the state, all of those things, right? So this is basically the sample data that we are leveraging today. Let's start with the most common formulas that we all use on a daily basis, which is our lookup functions, right? The first being VLOOKUP, again, is a widely used function in any spreadsheet application. And it plays a crucial role in data analysis by allowing you to retrieve specific information from a table or a range based on a lookup value. And then you have to consider it like a detective that helps us find and retrieve those specific information. So let's say if this is the master file, I have already created a lookup file, a VLOOKUP file for this. Let's say this is a subset of the same data that we have in the master sheet, and I need to retrieve the total sales, for these order dates that we have. It is, we are using the same syntax as we have used before, right? So equals to VLOOKUP. There are 4 parameters that we define. Search key is basically the order dates, which is the value you want to search for in the leftmost column of your specified range, right? Then you define your range, which is the range of cells that contains both the search and the search columns and the columns you want to retrieve from the data. So we'll go back to the master sheet, and let's say this is my this is my range. Now I need to retrieve the the total sales, which is column number 5, and then I need the exact match, hence 0. Now this helps me retrieve the total sales for these order dates that are defined, right? This is as pretty forward as we've done before, right? So, but okay, now I'll go by scenario. So this is one scenario where you are doing VLOOKUP in the same sheet, like different tabs in a sheet, right? It is same as how you have used it before. But what if the scenario is that you need to do a VLOOKUP with 2 different spreadsheets altogether? Let's say maybe your sales data is in one file, but the official product price list is in another file, which is, let's say, managed by the finance team. This is a very common scenario, and Google Sheet has a powerful way to handle it. Right? To do this, we need to introduce you to a new special function that works as a partner to the VLOOKUP. Right? Now, if you look at this file, this is with the name as sample data sheet session, and then I have another file which is another sample sheet. Right? So these are 2 different spreadsheets altogether that I'm kind of sharing it with you. Right? Now, let's say again the same data. But now I have to get the range from the sample data sheets that I shared before. That is where there's a special function which is called as import range function that works as a partner to our VLOOKUP function, right? But before I actually show you how to use VLOOKUP and import range together, let's understand how we use import range as a formula and what does import range do, right? So think of import range as a bridge. Its only job is to go to another spreadsheet and bring back the data you asked for. So it is simple. It is just had like 2 arguments that you kind of need to define. So I say equals to import range, right? And then you get this formula. There are just 2 parameters that you need to define. So one is basically the spreadsheet URL. This is the full web address of the other spreadsheet. What I'll do is I'll just copy that URL from another sheet and make sure to paste that in double inverted commas here, right? So you just copy it from the browser address bar and paste it into the quotes here. The other thing is the range string. Now this is the specific tab and the cell range you want to grab from the other sheet. Also again in quotes, right? So in this case, I have to get data from this master sheet, right? So I'll go back to my sheet where I was applying the import range function. I'll just do double quotes and specify the name of that file saying master sheet and then exclamation mark A to, let's say, H is something that I need to import, right? And close my brackets. That's all, right? That's basically the syntax of the import range function. And I press enter. As soon as I do that, it will automatically pull in the details from my master sheet to my local sheet, right? So for example, let's say this is the master, this is basically the master sheet from where I'm importing the data, and I have to do some analysis on this data. I'll probably not do that analysis on the master file. Rather, what I'll do is I'll create my local copy. One is I copy paste the data from my master sheet to the local one, or I use the import range function. The benefit of using this import range function is also that whatever gets updated in the master is also replicated in the local. So for example, let's say if I go ahead and add a row here saying that I need to add a row saying that, okay, Devi, and let's say the item that she sold is, let's say, headset. There are like 5 headsets being sold. The total sales for that is this number. She's from the north region. I say, okay, she's, let's say, from Punjab. Let's say this is the profit. So this data is being updated in the master file, right? Now if I go back to my local copy, which is another sample sheet, this is automatically being replicated to the local copy as well, right? So that's the power of using an import range function. It's not just static copy paste. If, let's say, for example, this is just one use case that we spoke about. Let's say, for example, there are like different sales sheets being maintained for different regions. You can get a consolidated view just by using an import range function. And then let's say if a north sheet gets updated, your master file, your consolidated master copy will also be updated with the changes that have been happened in the north sales file, right? So that's the power of using an import range function. Coming back to our lookup. So that's where if you're doing a VLOOKUP with 2 different sheets, you need to use a combination of VLOOKUP and import range. So let's put these 2 functions together, right? What we'll do is we'll start by typing in equals to VLOOKUP. We'll define our search key. Now, instead of defining the range, because range is in another sheet, we'll use the import range function inside of our VLOOKUP function, specifically in the range part, right? So we'll separate it by a comma, start by typing in the import range formula. Again, the same 2 parameters that we need to define. We'll just copy paste the URL from that sheet, bring it to this specific sheet here, right? Followed by a comma, and then defining the sheet where we are pulling the data from, right? So let's say A to H. And close my brackets, followed by a comma. Then we need to define the index, which is column number 5, because that's what we are trying to retrieve in this VLOOKUP. And then let's say we need the exact match, that's 0, and enter. Right, so it helps me pull the total sales for these order dates from the original sample data sheet that we had, right? So that's basically when we do VLOOKUP with 2 different sheets, right? Coming back to and what I'll do is I will share the sheet with you so you have the formula ready, and just change the URLs and the sheet that you're trying to import. Coming back to our main master sample data sheet that we were on, and going to some other formulas. Now, again, XLOOKUP is a game changer in Google Sheets when it comes to data analysis, right? It offers flexibility for searching, for retrieving, for manipulating data, making it an invaluable tool for conducting comprehensive data analysis and gaining valuable insights from the data sets. So let's say, for example, if I need to now retrieve the order dates for these sales representatives, I can do that, right? And you can search in all directions by using XLOOKUP, right? Either left, right, up and down, right? So it makes it a fantastic tool for deep data analysis and finding important information in your data with ease, right? So VLOOKUP has that default behavior that you can only look up for values towards the right of your search key. When you use HLOOKUP, you can only look for values which are towards the bottom of your search key, but XLOOKUP helps you look for values in multiple directions, right? So if let's say I go ahead and say XLOOKUP here, I define my search key. Go ahead and go back to the master sheet. I define my lookup range. and then the result range, which is towards the left of my search key. Close the brackets and press enter. It will help me retrieve the order dates for the sales representatives, right? Similarly, you can do XLOOKUP with two different sheets as well, using a combination of XLOOKUP and import range, right? So that was about the lookup functions. Coming back to our master file again, like the master sheet, there's also a powerful formula which is called as query function in Google Sheets. It's a powerful and versatile function that allows for data manipulation using a syntax very similar to SQL, right? It is used to extract, filter, sort, group, and perform activities on data within a spreadsheet or across multiple sheets, right? So let's say we take a scenario here. Let's say this is the sales data and we need to find out, let's say, the rep wise sales and profit. One is we can definitely go ahead and use pivot table or build a pivot table for this, but we can also do that using query function to build that table, right? So I'm just talking about just one use case just to show you how query function works, but there are multiple use cases you can use query function to kind of cater those, right? So let's say again, coming back to the use case, my use case is basically to find out the rep wise sales and profit. I start by doing the query function here, right? And starting the brackets. First is basically the data that you need to define. So let's say in this case it's A1 to H44, right? This is basically my data separated by a comma, and then you need to write the query. So in this case, I need to have the rep wise total sales and profit, right? So in this case, I'll just say start the double quotes. I'll just say select B and separate by a comma E, and then separated by a comma again, and then I'll write some H, close my brackets, and then I say group by B, and I close my brackets here, double quotes, and close the bracket, right? So I define the data where I need to pull this information from. Then I need to select, because I need the rep wise total sales and profit. I just use this query function to do that. It basically clubs the total sales for Andrew and the total sales of total sales and profit for Andrew, right? So this is basically me giving the entire table for the sum of total sales and profit by rep, right? So this is one thing. That's how you can use the query function. You can also use query with import range as well, right? So let's say you need to, again, in this specific data, I go back to this master sheet here, right? Now, let's say the first import range that we saw, we actually imported the entire data that we have here to the other sheet, right? Now, in this case, let's say I just need to import column A, column C, and column F to the other sheet. I don't want the extra columns to be imported. That's where you can use query and import range together, right? So if I share this tab in this sheet, which is completely a different another sample sheet, the other sheet that I had, I'll go ahead and type in the query and import range together, right? So equals to query. I start my brackets. I say import range. Right, I'll start the parenthesis, I'll define the URL here, close the brackets, I'll define the sheet, right, which is master sheet, A to H, close, and close my import range brackets, followed by a formula, and then I'll say, start again the quotes here, and then I say select column 1, column 3, and let's say column 5. That's all the columns that I need. I close the double quotes, I close my brackets, and press enter. So if you see here, it automatically puts in only those columns that I asked for, right? So that's how you can use query and import range together. You also have something called as import data as a formula, right? So if you do equals to import, there are multiple variances of import formulas that you can use. One is definitely the import range, which is the most used in Google Sheet, but there is something called as import data as well, right? Now, import data function in Google Sheet automatically imports data from a given URL, right? So let's say if you have a website, a URL, and you want to import the data from there, uh, it should be in a CSV or a TSV format, right? So it can basically import a live link to a public data file on the internet, right? So you provide a web address that points directly to a CSV or a .tsv files, and the function fetches the data and displays it directly into your spreadsheet. So I have a CSV file which I just pasted a link for, and I just pasted in double quotes and enter. It basically fetches, this is okay. So when you do an import range for the first time, it will give you this reference error. You just need to click on allow access, and it will fetch the data from the .csv or a TSV file format to the file, right? So the key advantage is that this is a dynamic link. Google Sheets will automatically refresh the data periodically, like about every hour, and each time the spreadsheet is reloaded, ensuring your sheet stays updated with the source file, right? So that's how we can use the import data as a formula in Google Sheets. Right. So, we have seen some powerful formulas and functions, how that work in Sheets. They are absolute best way to automate your calculations and make your data do the thinking. But what about automating your actions, right? So think about those repetitive tasks that you have to do every single week. Maybe it's a formatting a data export or applying the same 3 filters and then, copying the results to a summary tab. Doing all those clicks manually is really very tedious, right? That's where the macros thing come into picture. So let's say, for example, this is a data export that we receive every day at 8 a.m. and we need to format this data every time when it comes to us, right? So that's where I'll not have to do these steps every time. I'll just do once, like record a macro, and just rerun that macro whenever I receive such a file, right? Now, to record a macro, you go to this extension section and click on record macro. Now, while you are recording a macro, there are 2 categories that you get. One is the absolute references. This will do the task on the exact cells you record, whereas the relative references will do the task on the cell you select and its nearby cells. Let's say we go ahead with recording the absolute references macro. And if we broadly look at column B, I see there are like a couple of white spaces included here. So what I'll do is I'll go to the data section here. I have something called as data cleanup, right? There are some cleanup suggestions, but what I'll do is I'll trim the white spaces by myself because I'm recording the macro at this specific time, right? So I'll trim all the white spaces that are here. Now, once this is being trimmed, let's say I also need to add an email field here, and the format for that email field should be first name and domain name, or first name @domainname.com. So the other step, let's say that I need to do is split text to columns, and I separate it by a space. Let me add a separate column here towards the left and name it as email address, and I just use concatenate function to concatenate, let's say, the first names and let's say domain name xyz.com, and press enter. This basically helps me pull the first names and domain name.com. Now, because I'm recording a macro, what I'll do is I will just use the copy pasting options here. So I'll just paste this under the email address field here. Let's say I'm done with the formatting. I'll just go ahead and save this as 3rd September demo. I can also assign a shortcut key and go ahead and save this. Now, if I need to rerun this macro, once I receive that data, I'll go again to the extension section, and all your macros are being recorded here. So if you just click on this, or just press that shortcut which you've assigned, it will rerun the macro at that specific time. Right? So that's the magic of macros, automating the entire work with just a single click, right? So it's really is one of the most powerful time savers in Sheets. Okay, so this brings us to the end of our planned presentation. We have, covered a huge amount of ground today, from the incredible AI capabilities that Prateek shared, all the way through collaboration, shortcuts, powerful formulas, and now macros, right? So now what we want is we want to shift the focus on you. So for the next 10-15 minutes, we will be, doing the live Q&A. Prateek and I both are here to help you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you so much for being patient listeners. We really appreciate you taking out time to learn more about Google Sheets. And uh, one of the things that we definitely want to hear from you is your feedback. So I've given the feedback link on the chat window as well. So if you can click there, or you can just scan this QR code and you can give your feedback to us on what you thought about the session. Feedback is a gift. You give that gift to us so that we could further improve on and bring more such exciting concepts to you in the next session. Now, I want to definitely take up some of the questions that have come up in the Q&A section. And thank you, everyone, for putting in your questions. So let me just sort it by the most popular ones. Now, there is a request that can we start from some of the basic concepts of Google Sheets? Yes, we can do that in one of the subsequent sessions. So that's something that we can take as a feedback. This session is being recorded. That's one of the questions we have. We will share the recording once you share your feedback. So all the folks who are able to share their feedback, we will send them a thank you email along with the recording of today's session, right? There's a question around workflow for the sentiment analysis. You would like to understand that once again. Okay, so for sentiment analysis, basically, if your sheet has some data, what you could do is you could actually do the is equal to AI, which is the new formula that we've got in the sheets section, and that is something that you could leverage. If you're not able to see is equal to AI so far, or if it is not clear to you, don't worry about that. Reach out to your IT team, and then your IT team can connect to the Google folks, and we can help you to get this going in your environment. This is a new capability that we have recently launched, and make sure that you reach out to your IT team, and we can collaborate with them to get you going on this, right? There are also a few suggestions or few folks saying that they're not able to see Gemini, the Ask Gemini in Sheets. Now, if you're not able to see Ask Gemini is a brand new feature, a new capability that we have recently launched, and we are doing a gradual global rollout of this. So if you're not seeing it right now, reach out to your IT team again, and your IT team can work with us to enable this. So please make sure that you reach out to your IT team. And in fact, not just for Ask Gemini, even for the other capabilities. If you're not able to see any of the capabilities in your environment, reach out to your IT team. Your IT team can work with the Google team to enable that for you. And then we can have a specific session for your organization where we can discuss how some of these capabilities can be leveraged. There are a few questions. Right. Now, let me just clarify one concept here, because there was a query or a question that, is this AI capabilities rolled out to everyone? So let me tell you, AI capability as such is rolled out globally. Now, when we have more than 3 billion users of the Google Workspace platform. So obviously we roll out these capabilities over a period of time. It takes a few weeks. But all of these capabilities that we showcase today, they are available for organizations to use. So if you're not able to see any of these capabilities in your environment, just reach out to your IT team and they can enable it for you. So it's not that it is not available. It's just that maybe it is not enabled so far for your organization, or maybe it is we have an early tester phase where we can enable your organization in that early tester phase. Yeah. Uh, by the way, we will not be opening the mic for the Q&A because there are a lot of folks, as you understand, on the meeting. So it may not be the best of ideas. So if you have a question, just submit that in the Q&A section and we'll take it from there. If you want to have a further discussion with the Google team, reach out to your IT team, like I mentioned. Tell them about today's session, and let them know if you have subsequent questions, and they can definitely help you to get the answers for that, right? Now, there were also a lot of questions or requests that how you can use large amount of data inside Google Sheets. And I think we did cover that during our demo, which I covered earlier, uh, in which I showcased that, as long as the data is there in your data warehouse, you can connect Google Sheets to your data warehouse. You don't have to extract the data from there. You don't have to download the data from there. All you have to do is connect your Google Sheet to your data warehouse using our Connected Sheets framework. And basis that, you will be able to work on big data irrespective of the size of the data. So it doesn't matter how many rows, how many columns, what is the size of data, you will be able to leverage the Connected Sheets ecosystem to build your analysis, right? So just ensure that you have a discussion with your IT team to enable this. If they have some queries, they can reach out to us and we can collaborate with them to get this going. Uh, there is also some questions or comments around conversion of data when data is there in Google, in let's say Excel, and then you're converting it into Google Sheets. Now, conversion of data from one platform to the other platform will always be tricky, right? Because Excel is a different platform and Google Sheets is a different platform. And that's why I covered this right in the beginning, that from your source system itself, if you can just have a download in Sheets option, and your IT team can enable that, right? Once you've got that kind of a capability, then you will not have to worry about the problems of conversion. And if the size of the data is very large, then you should never think of downloading the data in Sheets as well. Instead, use our Connected Sheets framework that we showcased today earlier to just access that data, get your work done, and that's it, right? You don't have to download the data in order to work on that data. That is a game changer when it comes to large amount of data. So don't worry about downloading it in your sheet or in your Excel, because there are a lot of issues when you download a lot of data, but that should not prohibit you from leveraging that data. So using Google Sheets, Connected Sheets ecosystem, just build a connection to that data and talk to your IT team. They can help you to set up that connection. Once you've got the connection, all you have to do is just go to the data menu and access data from there. Yeah. So, okay, if you're not able to access the QR code, don't worry about that. Some folks are not able to access the QR code. So I've given the link of the feedback form. So just go on to the feedback form from the chat window, and you can just open it from there. If you're not able to access the QR code for the feedback form, just go on to the chat window and just look at the link that I've pasted it there in the Meet chat, and you'll be able to access it from there. Yeah, because there were a few questions around that. All right, and let me now look at a few more questions which have come in. There's another request for downloading or uploading 2 GB of data with 2 lakh line items or 2.5 lakh line items. Like I mentioned, that you don't have to download a lot of data on a sheet. If it is small amount of data, that's fine. But if you've got large data set, instead of downloading it on a sheet, you should rather use the connected sheets framework to build a connection between Google Sheet and your data warehouse, and then do your calculations that you want to do, right? So don't worry about downloading data in your sheet, because obviously any document will, if the size of the data is very large, any document will get frozen up. So there's no point in doing that. There is a better way of doing this, which I have already discussed multiple times today, which is the connected sheets ecosystem. Reach out to your IT team. They can connect with us to build this connection for you, right? There are also a lot of other comments where people have mentioned that they're not able to access Gemini. Now, if you're not able to access Gemini, or if you're not able to build the connected sheets framework yourself, don't worry about that. Reach out to your IT team. Your IT team can connect with Google, and we can together make sure that you are able to get all of these capabilities that we have showcased today. So don't worry about that. Now, one thing which I forgot to tell, and I'll tell right now, is everybody who submits the feedback form, uh, feedback is a gift. So if you give that gift to us, we will give you a gift back by sharing some exciting templates on Google Sheets that you can leverage for your day-to-day work. So if you can be kind enough to share your feedback, and we will definitely share these templates with you. I see there are some questions around latency on automation. Shikhar, I have seen that you've prepared an automation with some database visualizations. The visualizations load in a very sluggish manner. Like I mentioned, if there is a lot of data, it will on the sheet, it will make the sheet a little bit slow. So if you want fast latency, uh, or you want very fast access and response, use the connected sheets ecosystem that I have spoken about multiple times today. Okay, we have some folks who have given us a thank you for this session. So I would definitely now enable the reactions again. So if you're still there on the call with us, please feel free to give us your reactions, a thumbs up or a thumbs down. A thumbs up if you like what you saw today, a thumbs down if you didn't like it. We like all the support that we get from all of you, so that we can continuously help conduct such sessions. We are coming towards the end of today's session. Please do fill up that feedback form so that we could help you in responding to you with some exciting templates that we've got for you. Thank you so much for spending the last 1.5 hours. You have been a fantastic audience today. So we really appreciate the partnership, and we will bring out another webinar very soon on the Gemini capabilities, not just in Sheets, but also inside Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Drive, Google Meet, uh, Gmail itself, and a lot of other exciting automations. So we are going to soon run a webinar on that. So look out for that. That will be an exciting generative AI demonstration. So thank you so much for all your appreciation and your good wishes to us. We would really appreciate all of this partnership, helping us in building a better Google Workspace family. Thank you all for your time today, and we really appreciate all your feedback.